Okay, one beautiful thing about strings is the fact that strings are final and immutable. That means if I try and create a class, final means that if I try and create a class, I try and extend string, it's not going to let me do it. In Java, there's only one string that will ever exist. You always know how it's going to react because you cannot extend string. It's always going to be the way it is. Now the next thing about string is really nice. String objects are immutable, which means you can't change a string object once you create it. Once you create a string object, then it has been created and it can never be changed ever again. So oftentimes when you're doing things that appear to be changing strings, you're in fact just creating new strings. So if we say my string, and previously I showed you, call this my new string, and previously I showed you the plus sign to concatenate. If I concatenate these two strings together with another string on the end, I am in fact creating a new string. It's not getting appended to my string. I am in fact creating a brand new string out of these two. And as a result, this can create overhead in applications, high performance applications that have to run millions and millions of times. Because what if you're doing something like now it's really nice that you can concatenate strings in Java, but it can lead to some performance impact. And so one of the best practices is that you want to avoid doing things like this. Now look at how many strings have to get created here. I can't tell you the exact number. We could look it up. But I can tell you it's more than one. It's more than two. It's probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 strings that have to get created. What we can do here is there's a method called format on string, which is very similar to format.f. And we can say, hey, my stuff %s to represent one string, %s to represent another string. And now we have a format method, just like in C. And the beauty of this is that it's only creating one string because it's not having to do multiple concatenations together. Another trick with strings for performance is that you can use something called a string builder. And typically if you're building up a group of text, you'll want to use a string builder to hold all the text until you're ready to put the string together. So string builders start out blank. You can say string builder.append my other string append my string builder.toString. So in this case, we're doing something pretty similar down here, except that we're just keeping a list. We're just keeping track of all the strings we want to add together until we get to this down here where we call toString on this method, and that will put them all together at the same time instead of joining up each one individually and having to create all these extra string objects, which just kind of live around for a little bit until they get garbage collected.